Walking down the street, chickens blowing kisses. Never thought I'd end up 28 without a missus. Yet here we are, yeah, it's totally a thing. Making this movie about my life in quarantine. Started out hype, living life as a pirate. Then it got eclectic as time began to riot. Filmed my thoughts, what a terrible idea. Had a party over Zoom and got diarrhea. Ran out of toilet paper, life felt like forfeit. Turn on the news, an invasion of hornets. That's when it really truly started to unravel. I truly wish I could go motherfracking travel like toilet paper Jesus. Toilet paper Jesus. Toilet paper Jesus. Toilet paper Jesus. I wanna be a vagabond, maybe I'm a Cylon. I should have killed them hornets with the motherfracking mask on. Covered in ketchup, man, I think I messed up. Need a therapist that will help me fill my loving cup. No, not with beer, they really need to steer this conversation with myself a light year away from beer that need to poop and seize us. Sorry socks, it don't please us. Holy fracking crap, is that toilet paper Jesus? Toilet paper Jesus. 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 Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 10th episode of Lights, Thunder, Action. My name is Thomas Carter Rochester, a.k.a. the Son of Dale.
And my name is David Thompson, a.k.a. I'm really going to miss AMC.
Requiescat in pace. We want to welcome you to a very landmark episode. It's a landmark episode because, A, we've reached double digits. We've made it to 10 weeks. Holy shnikes.
Made it.
We've done it. Yeah, self 5.
Oh,
you're yeah, there you go.
There we go. Thank you everyone for joining us these 10 weeks. If you've been a regular, just thank you. You know, it's been great. I hope everyone's been enjoying.
Yes, thank you so much for your comments, your concerns, your questions, making fun of me. I love all of it.
Yes.
Also, it is actually our first time ever that the Lights Thunder Action podcast is live streaming directly to YouTube as well as Facebook. On YouTube, we are at the HWWS WebTV, where we have joined the network and the family of content that they have, and featuring the KitchenKillaz, the Legend of the Traveling Tardis radio show, Reels and Heels, MLB Entertainment's Saturday morning cartoons, the Hangin with Web show, and so many much more. That's not intense. So thank you to the folks at the HWWS Web TV, Garrett, Sage.
Yes, thank you.
Like the whole family. They welcomed us with open arms, and we're very excited to be expanding our network a little bit more. David, how are you doing, brother?
I'm doing pretty well. You know, with everything going on right now, I would say I'm doing great, really. I'm excited for today. We have a pretty fun show planned for you guys. The news is pretty short compared to normal weeks, and then we got a lot of fun hypothetical. Yeah, you know us. If you're a regular, you know us, and that we can tend to go on about the news, but I'm sure we will. But our news isn't too much, and then we're going to do some games later for our big topic. Some few hypothetical questions in the chat. Let us know if you want us to answer anything when the time comes, because we sure will. How are you doing, Thomas?
I don't know anymore. I've been listening to Kumail Nanjiani and Emily V. Gordon's podcast, Staying In, and they talk about this time quarantine is like in the weirds, and I've been working this whole time, and I still don't know how I feel about life itself anymore. I'm just tired. It's been a busy week. This week I have gotten That's not even a sentence. This week, I've got a lot of different things done, prepped, ready to go. Such as, hooking up with HWWS WebTV, getting an improv show that we did this morning off the ground and ready to go. As well as
Facebook page.
Yes, it was on my Bookface page, as well as, are you ready for it? Watched 6 movies this week.
Unbelievable.
That is insane. You know how much time I've put in to just sit down and be like, shut up, brain, shut up, brain. It's been a fun week.
Yeah.
But also like very tiring.
Yeah, no doubt.
And the news, the news is unfortunate in America right now and around the world, really. And we were supposed to have a protest locally here yesterday, but by the time I got there later in the afternoon, because I was filming in Fort Walton, it was not happening. But it was also kind of the beginning of Tropical Storm Cristobal.
Yeah.
So,
Is it affecting you up there, the tropical storm?
Not today. It was pretty much all yesterday, but I think it's supposed to make landfall sometime tonight. But we're getting wind from the north, so I'm questioning whether it already made landfall. I don't. In case you're wondering, I do not go look at the weather news because it's the weekend. Who cares?
Yeah, with everything going on right now, with all Black Lives Matters and all the protests and everything happening, I would just say, today we're going to have a lot of light entertainment to kind of, focus your attention on something different when there's not a lot going on right now except the news and everything pushing out to you. But I would just, recommend everyone just to, listen. Don't be rash to kind of, inflict your own opinions onto something. Let someone talk to you, talk to someone, get educated. I think this is a great time for that. Not just kind of digging your heels in the dirt, but more, letting people really affect you and listen and try to learn and just kind of try to make the world a better place. It's kind of my suggestion.
Knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. Speaking of news, we're going to hop right into everyone's favorite segment of the week. What the news? The news indeed. Banners. I'm so unprepared. Hey! We messed up. We're so in sync, we clicked at the same time.
Yes.
So if you enjoyed the intro song, which was Toilet Paper Jesus, produced by... his name will hit me in a second. Otis McDonald. But the lyrics were written by this idiot. So that is actually written. It's an original song for an original short film that I wrote and directed and all that. It's a one-man show. It was very tedious and I didn't want it to be a one-man show, but quarantined, right? So I actually found out a couple hours ago that Toilet Paper Jesus, my short film, has been accepted to screen for the Quarantine Chronicles Film Challenge, which will be next Saturday, June 13th at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, only on the Emerald Coast Filmmakers Facebook page. It'll be in a watch party, and it'll stay up until 5 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Eastern, on Sunday, June 14th, and they'll also throw up a poll for the Viewer's Choice Award. So next week, if you're not doing anything from that 2-hour block, hop on Facebook. I'll be sharing the link. We'll put the link in the show notes. We'll actually do that this week. I forgot last week. Sorry, David. Making us look like dumb. That's not even a sentence.
Look like dumb.
Making us look like dumb. And enjoy some free homemade content from our home to your home.
Yeah, congrats, Thomas. That sounds awesome. Next Saturday, what, 5 o'clock you said? 5
p.m. Central Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? 3 Pacific?
3 Pacific.
3 Pacific Standard Time. All right. Moving on.
Jesus.
That is it for Toilet Paper Jesus. Oh wait, hold on. Before we go, I made a poster yesterday. I'm pretty proud of it. Shout out Adobe Stock for having great stuff, and then me paying for it.
Yeah, they especially appreciate that, right?
They very much do. It was a lot of fun. It took me longer than it should have, but I'm obsessive.
Yeah. All right. So for What the News, our next topic is going to be the big one for today is what I referenced in my AKA this week. Can AMC recover? So we've been chronicling this since day one of the Lights Thunder Action podcast, and this week it came out that this is Hollywood Reporter reporting. AMC Theaters possible bankruptcy too close to call, analyst says. We believe AMC has the wherewithal to remain a going concern until October. So AMC, this is another step to they're close to filing Chapter 11 bankruptcy. This we're going to talk about later. Florida opening up for movies lately, but I haven't heard anything about the AMC here in Melbourne, in Florida. Anyway, so AMC, we've been chronicling this since day one. They are in financial trouble because of coronavirus, obviously, because they've had to shut their doors, and it only seems to be getting worse. They're really, really not sure what they're going to do. And I think what I read is that if they do decide to open up their doors again anytime soon, it'll be a possibly different kind of AMC, maybe higher prices and maybe less theaters for movies, because that's how you save money. And it's really not looking good, because, I mean, the whole point is to open up a theater. It costs a lot to open a theater. And a lot of the times theaters aren't all that profitable unless there's a big time movie coming out. We help that because we go to the theater a lot, but not a lot of people do. And I think they're scared. Part of the reason, because everyone is now getting accustomed to staying at home. There's no real big movies coming out until July, at least scheduled to anyway. And even then, you probably can't fill up the theater by then. So AMC, what were your thoughts when you heard this, Thomas? AMC not doing so hot still.
So sad. That is all.
All right, next.
It sums it up quite well, because I love AMC. Even when I drive an hour away, I wanted to go to the movies yesterday, like instinctually, because I drove and traveled and did work for the first time outside of my house. And my day job. And I was like, oh, I can go see a movie. And it was like a sparkle of a thought that was drowned out by the sound of Cristobal and the fact that I already read the news for the week.
Yeah, I mean, I really hope we'll see what AMC does. I mean, there was still that rumor about Amazon possibly buying them. I'm sure that's still something that could happen, or another big business that could. I mean,
you know what? On that topic, I did watch The Big Sick again. I watched it for the first time, and I cried a lot less than I thought, because I wasn't hydrated enough. Hydrate before you cry, kids. And it was, in the beginning, it starts and it's Amazon Studios, which they have their own studio. So the fact that studios can now, if I'm remembering what I've read somewhere this past quarantine, studios can now buy theaters again, which you saw with Netflix. So if Amazon buys their own studio, they have the type of movies like The Big Sick that they want to actually release out there to the world en masse. Right. And on top of that, they have enough content in their own library to where they could just throw stuff in the theaters like they do with the retro movie stuff. They could do that with ease.
Yeah.
So
it'll be curious to see, you know. And another thing is, like, okay, AMC goes out of business. What does that really mean? Because AMC owns so many theaters, you know, and it's like, what happens to all those theaters? Are they just up for grabs? Like, or it's so confusing. I can't imagine that the name of AMC is just suddenly going to go away. I just think we might see worse AMC on the other end of this, perhaps. It's really unclear as of right now, or if there'll be some sort of takeover and some sort of monopoly building with Cinemark and Regal.
Is Cinemark still around? Oh, no, I'm thinking of Carmike.
Carmike was bought out by AMC a few years ago, the whole company. So
I didn't know AMC existed until they bought Carmike. I was like, what?
Yeah, I knew the AMC that there's a few in Orlando that I knew of before it came here to West Melbourne. But so hate to see it, you know, like I said at the beginning, I'll miss it if it ever leaves, but it's getting dire, and I think they're really. And it's such a hard thing. The theater business is that they know when they immediately open, they need to have a splash. They can't just open slowly, because they'll be losing money. They'll be spending money, not gaining money. So interesting to see. You know, keep a close eye on it, as we have been all 10 episodes.
All 10 episodes. Quick shout out to the folks that are watching now. We have Kevin Gillette, Kevin Budusang. Budasang. I was gonna say it slower, and it was just gonna sound terrible. Thank you for
What's up,
saving
Kevin?
me. Kevin. Oh, we got Kevin squared in the house. I see a couple of my friends, Parker, Eggle, Corey Forrest, Eric Johnson. They may or may not still be here. Hello, if you are. If you're not, hello anyway.
And thank you to everyone listening to this later as the podcast version or as the YouTube version.
Yes, we are now everywhere.
And speaking of that, moving along,
Oh,
WandaVision is supposedly resuming filming in July. And it's funny, the source of this was not Disney, not Marvel Studios. Nothing was official. There was no press release. But what happened was Tampa Bay Comic Convention, Comic-Con, announced on June 3rd, just a few days ago, about 4 days ago, that they received word Paul Bettany, who is the Vision, who has been filming for WandaVision, will not be at the Comic-Con, the Tampa Bay Comic-Con, because he is supposedly resuming filming for WandaVision.
hype.
So this is kind of an under the wraps little thing that kind of Tampa Bay happened to give us this information that WandaVision will be supposedly resuming in July. So what were your thoughts when you saw this, Thomas?
You gotta love Florida. We don't know what an NDA is to save our lives. I want to make some coronavirus jokes because we 100% have a new all day total or whatever it was I saw in the news. So I want to make so many jokes, but shout out because yeah, I'm super happy to hear that they're going to be able to finish filming. Which I mean, I don't know if you were going to touch on this, but Falcon and Winter Soldier and Loki and Shang-Chi were also supposed to start resuming filming by October or something. I think I saw.
Yeah. And also I read that now there's rumors and suggestions that Loki and Falcon Winter Soldier may come back into filming in July as well. I mean, if Marvel Studios is pushing forward one, why wouldn't they move forward with others that they need to wrap up? Especially, this is kind of a sub news that we didn't touch on today, but Mandalorian season 2, Jon Favreau came out the other day and said that they are still on pace to come out in October. They're completely done, filming. They're just editing remotely, and it should be all good. They're still going to come out on time. In this, I mean, Falcon Winter Soldier, they have not pushed it yet. It is still supposed to come out in August, which seems unbelievable, But yeah. I mean, it's definitely something that goes to show. I mean, they have not touched that release date, and you would think they would have announced that by now because we're getting we're 3 months away from August, so it's very interesting. I don't think they have that much more to film. And another point I wanted to make:
we're 2 months away from August, bro. We're in June now.
Math. I'm not good at that.
It's okay. I got you. You're good with the words. I'm good with the numbers.
Yeah, exactly. But oh shoot, what was I gonna say? Oh. There was rumors and reports coming out that WandaVision could be completely done with filming, and this is confirming that that was never the case, and that they still are filming, and they've been very hush hush. It's been kind of confusing. There was times. I mean, I know I believe there were some set fit photos that came out and stuff like that, but other than that, there really hasn't been much in the timeline of this. Especially people thought it was over. But it does seem like they don't have much left, kind of in a Falcon Winter Soldier. It might just be reshoots. We don't know. There hasn't been any real report we can get our hands on here.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking is, they might have pretty much everything they need, but now they just need those 50 shots that they need to just kind of finesse it all back together, which small minor tangent going back to the Disney gallery, which I'm caught up on, David.
Yeah,
it's okay. Don't worry, because this week's episode, Favreau and Taika touched on how they did reshoots for their movies in the MCU and how, when they're shooting it, it's just kind of, it is what it is. But in reshoots like that we know exactly what we're doing. We need these many shots. We have these many days.
Right.
And they talked about, they were comparing it to Mandalorian season 1, which they prevised the entire season. So they had it all animated so that when they went in, they knew exactly what shots they needed. They knew how they could do it, and they needed it to be done that way so that they could have the volume ready. And Taika dropped the little nugget that they got 360 shots in reshoots for Ragnarok done in a week.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
They can really work quick, basically, is when
Mhm.
when they need to for reshoots, because they know exactly what they want to do, I suppose.
Exactly. And that's what they were saying is in the shoot, they're like, oh, well, you put a glass down. It's like, do it a couple more times. You never know what we're going to need. And then in
Right.
reshoots, they're like, boom, we got it. Move on. We've got to go.
Right. Yeah. So this is positive news. I don't even know exactly where WandaVision was filming. I don't know if it was overseas or in their Atlanta studio. I know what Falcon Winter Soldier was. I think where the heck was Falcon Winter Soldier filming?
I literally just wrote Wanda in the thing because you said it. My bad.
Falcon Winter Soldier. I forget where they're filming. Somewhere not in the United States of America though. Anyway, moving on to our final news topic today.
Oh yeah, hold on. The WandaVision I've read are going to be shooting in Los Angeles.
Oh, cool.
Because
Okay,
they've been trying to open LA a little faster.
gotcha. Yeah, sounds good. I mean that makes sense. I know. Like Georgia has been open. Like they've been really forward with like Like they've been really opening quicker than others. So that wouldn't be surprising if it was Atlanta either. So yeah, okay, Los Angeles. Moving on to our final news topic of the day, that will lead straight into our fun games, hypothetical games, quote unquote games. Florida has just announced their phase 2 of reopening. Now, kind of coming out of there was the stay-home order. There was phase 1 of kind of reopening Florida. Now there's phase 2, and in phase 2, they announced. Governor DeSantis said that movie theaters can now open at 50% occupancy as of this past Friday. And hurrah, yeah, huzzah! But
Huzzah!
AMC, no word from them. There's a few local theaters that said they're going to open up soon. I have Cinema World here and Premier Oaks Theater, and I think they're going to open their doors soon to everyone. So this is positive news. What were your thoughts when you initially heard this, Thomas, before I lead into the game?
I'm excited, but
it's good news for Tenet.
It's a great news for Tenet, but until Tenet, what the hell are they going to put in there?
Yeah, that's the thing.
For example, May 22nd, Lovebirds, which I watched this week, was supposed to come out, and it they moved it directly to Netflix. So, they're kind of losing movies to put out. Now, granted, they might be throwing in some of the movies that are already on VOD. Like, I would love to see the movie The Hunt, but I don't want to buy it for $20 without special features. I'm a little OCD. So if I'm going to pay $20, I want to be able to get my ticket and popcorn and watch it on the big screen.
Right.
So,
yeah, it's good news for that.
So
I mean, it's good news for the future movies that are coming out, because especially after the new Tenet trailer dropped, and they didn't say in the trailer, they said coming soon. They didn't say July 17th anymore. So maybe these new reopenings of states and the phases going through and theaters being allowed to reopen, that's just the first step. First step is being allowed to. Next step is someone like an AMC, who's a huge chain, actually being financially able to reopen, which is a vast majority of theaters, and especially in bigger cities and big, great theaters that pack up fans and make a lot of money for the studios and the theaters. So curious to see. But Premier Oaks Theater, which I just mentioned, they had a Facebook post saying, "Oh, we're opening our doors soon." And they said, they're asking the audience, or their followers on Facebook, what movies. They were like, leave us a comment on what movie would you want to see in the theater again.
Oh, and where's Premier Oaks located?
Oh, here in Melbourne.
Just for the people who don't know.
Melbourne, Florida. Melbourne, Florida. So come on down. But
I will.
Yeah, for real. So this is my question to you. If you could, you could choose any 3 movies. If you could choose 3 movies to return to theaters, what would they be and why? I know it's a good one. So you can just pick any movie that you want to see in the big screen again, which I think, some people don't value that. I value that because I love seeing stuff on the big screen. I love being in the packed theater with people. I'd love to be able to experience that with someone again. What would your list be if you had any idea?
Okay, the first 3 that jumped to my mind is the original cut of the original trilogy of Star Wars. But that takes out all 3 of my choices. So I'm
Those are all three of your wishes gone.
Yeah, that'd be all three of my wishes gone in one swing. So that's not fair.
Just pick Empire.
What? No, that one barely changed. Surprisingly, it's one of the that's the one that the only thing they really did was touch up some CG, and they made Cloud City look a little bigger, which is like, oh, okay, that's actually nice. Yes. It's only 3 seconds longer or something like that. It's like barely touched.
So you're basing that decision off of you just want to see the original cut of Star Wars again
on the big screen, right? I never got to see it on the big screen.
True.
I watched it the original cuts on VHS. At the house.
I don't know if I've ever seen the original cuts, to be honest.
I have, and I absolutely hate episode. You know why I hate Return of the Jedi so much? It's the updated version with that it's gonna be stuck in my head all night now.
That's the worst.
I can't stand that song. That song is so annoying.
It's so bad. Like they're such clearly like these animated, gross CGI characters. That's just like, oh my gosh, what are you doing in this movie? It just sticks out like a sore thumb.
Oh, I can't get it out.
All right, so you got what? What's one movie?
Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Endgame.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Jaws,
please let us know in the
comments.
IMAX. Your three too. Yes. Jaws in IMAX. Ooh.
Jaws in IMAX, because I really love that movie. But like, it's in my top 10 list. It probably is, but I love that movie so much. But I never saw it in the big screen. And every time it would pop up at Premier Oaks for the Rewind Theater, I never made my butt out there to go actually see it, which is obviously only my fault.
Right.
My third choice, though.
What was the first one again?
Endgame.
Oh, right. Endgame, Jaws in IMAX. Okay.
Jaws in IMAX.
We had Kevin's picks.
Ooh,
Joker, War of the Planet of the Apes, and Hobbs and Shaw.
Hobbs and Shaw was so dope in the theater.
Together.
It is. Oh yeah.
It was a good movie.
I went alone.
Yeah. I think me and Kevin saw Joker together as well. He can correct me in the comments if that's wrong. But yeah, Joker. I'm surprised it says Joker. Joker's a great movie. I don't know if that'd be my pick for like a theater experience again. Because like
I still haven't watched it again.
Oh, you only seen it once?
I've only seen it once. It is it's emotionally taxing. It does not make me feel better to think that I might watch it again. It makes me feel so much worse because I'm like, I'm not ready for that kind of trauma again.
Yeah.
What would be my third? Like that's tough. I would say Lion King, but I got to see that when they re-released it on my birthday in 2011.
You want me to inspire you with my list before you have your final pick?
Please do, sir.
So number one on my list, it'll be to no one's surprise because I never saw it in theaters, is the original Spider-Man of Tobey Maguire.
Interesting.
And
theaters.
Yeah, because I was 4 when it came out. So
I was 11.
So I never saw it in theaters. I loved it when I first saw it, of course, and I was so young. It was just kind of like I just remember being super scared of when the spider bites him scene in the laboratory. Like that was like one of my biggest takeaways from the entire movie. And seeing it now would be amazing because it's been so long. I rewatched them a lot, obviously, but I've never seen it in the theater. And that movie, to me, as a Spider-Man fan, it's just like it's one of those movies that I would have freaked out if I actually seen it in theaters. And it means so much to me because that's the reason I am a Spider-Man fan to begin with. Is the Tobey Maguire movies? Like they were a big. I was just a little kid, so when I was growing up, like that was Spider-Man to me, and that would be unreal to see it in theaters for me anyway. So that's number one for me.
Shocking.
Yeah. A big shocker there. My second is one of my favorite movies of all time, like no doubt. Maybe my favorite movie of all time, if you don't count like MCU or like comics at all, is Back to the Future. Back to the Future to me is like one of the greatest movies. I think it is just so good from start to beginning. I'd love to see all three in theaters. I think they actually have popped in theaters before. Yeah, for sure. I haven't.
It's the 35th anniversary, if I'm not mistaken. So now is the time. owners of Back to the Future.
Universal.
Universal.
Yeah, it is 35 years in 85. So yeah, it's definitely something that I would love, because obviously 85, I wasn't born. I definitely didn't see it in theaters, of course, but it's one of those I think I would love to see, like, crowd reactions and really experience it on the big screen, because I've always just watched it on TV. So those two are, I think, because those two I haven't seen in theaters ever in my entire life, I'd choose those because it's an experience I never got, but they're movies I absolutely love that I would want to experience that on because I love the theater. Mm-hmm. And my third and final movie is the original Avengers. To me, that was like that was 8 years ago. It came out now. It's actually surprising. Like, you might be surprised by this, but it's actually what kind of got me into the love of the MCU. Like, before I went and saw the Avengers, I wasn't amped up for the Avengers. I saw it came out and I was like, oh, super cool. Like, I maybe seen Iron Man 1 or something, but I wasn't like fully like delved into it. And I remember after I went, I mean,
you were like 17?
I was 14.
Holy shnikes.
It was 2012 and I was born in 98.
Okay, so you were very young.
Yeah, I was about 14. I was actually 13 when I saw it.
I was almost 21. So I was all in, baby.
Yeah, no doubt. We were at different parts of our lives. So I was this kid that was like, yeah, whatever, Spider-Man. Like, I care about Spider-Man. I still cared about like Amazing Spider-Man more than I cared about like Iron Man or Thor then. You know, I was like, sweet, Amazing Spider-Man. Because I'm Mr. Like, I'll never go away from that. You know, it's always like, I'm always going to want to go see that.
The first one was so good.
Yeah, and parts of the second one are good, so I'm not going to sit here and defend it.
5 parts of the second one that's good.
The suit is amazing in the second one. The suit, that's still my favorite suit of any Spider-Man movie, in my opinion.
I still love the MCU version because of the eyes.
The Starks. Oh, yes, the eyes are great.
And that's what gets me.
Yeah, I agree with that point. The eyes are great, but I love those big eyes on the Spider-Man 2 one.
The Todd McFarlane eyes.
Yeah.
I loved those, man.
I would. And going off Avengers too, is that so I watched Avengers in theaters and was just blown away. Of course, I'm like, holy crap, that's an actual movie just came out. And I went back and I watched all of the movies leading up to it in order. You know, all the little and by then, what was it, like 4 movies or something, right?
It was like 5.
Yeah, so it was like both Iron Man's, Hulk, Captain America, and Thor. And I watched all of them and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, this is fantastic. And from that point on, I mean, look at me, I'm in my More Than a Fan shirt. Like, it was all in from then. So like that, to me, revisiting that experience, like, that'd be so nostalgic to me because that was one of those, I mean, it sounds silly, but like it was one of those turning points, just kind of like my movie going experiences, where now it was this thing where, oh my gosh, I have to go see the new Marvel movie. Like, and I started researching and watching YouTube and reading all these articles, and that, like, seeing that movie was really a turning point for me and like going to the movies and my comic fandom to a certain degree. Even got me reading more comics because of it, because I kind of got back into it. Anyway.
I think that was the first movie I openly cried in ever, like as an adult, outside of Toy Story 3, because that was sad. When
Toy Story 3 was very sad.
It was so sad. You really want to know when I cried?
I do. I think the audience does too.
The main freaking scene when you hear the scores like the
turnaround,
the 360 loop, dude. Yeah. They do that, and I'm like, let's fight, and I start tearing up. And then they gave us the whole sequence of it jumping from one Avenger to the next Avenger to the next, and I got goosebumps thinking about it now, man. Like,
exactly, and they started
so
such
good.
Like
I saw that movie 5 times in theaters.
Really? Yeah.
I did not care. And when it came back out on Labor Day later that year, I took my freshly minted girlfriend to see it, and I was we'd already seen it before then, but I was like, no, this is a big screen. This isn't doing it at Florida Tech, because they screened it at Florida Tech in like August for something, and then I was like, it's good. And then we went.
Oh, you were here then, right?
I was there then. Like I said, I was 20 something.
Right. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, that is funny. That kind of shows our like age difference then, because like I was just this little like tween that was like, yeah, Spider-Man, but like I wasn't fully invested in all this stuff. Like then, I mean, what's funny, you wouldn't even think about it me now, but I think at that point in my life, I was just like Batman, Spider-Man, everyone else is all right. Like
those people.
Yeah, literally.
To be fair, that was me when I was a kid, actually.
Yeah. I mean,
because I watched Spider-Man animated series and Batman the animated series. So those were like my two favorites there.
And like I watched Spider-Man animated shows. I watched like Teen Titans. So I was all into that. There's the Arkham games coming out. So I was like, yeah, Batman's awesome. And he's just the best character and everything. So that was where I was at that point in life. And that'd just be my third pick. I think that would be like, if I had to rank them, I went in kind of opposite order. I think that would be the one I would want to revisit in theaters the most, just because I think it'd just be such a cool experience. So what was your third? We haven't gotten to your third.
Before we get to mine, because we'll wrap mine up.
Yeah.
Terry says that today is the Goonies 35th anniversary.
Wow.
Are you ready to
85 as well?
It did.
Yeah.
Are you ready to hate me? I don't remember ever seeing the Goonies.
I have I'm not gonna lie. I've maybe seen it. Like, I'm not a big Goonies fan. I'm not some fanboy of the Goonies. I do remember the movie, but I do not. Well, hey, it's the 35th anniversary. Go check it out. You know, if there's ever a time, make it number 7. Movie number 7 of the week.
Movie number 7 of the week.
Make it a full week.
You know what? That's not a bad idea, actually. Yeah, I think it was on during a trip at one point, and we were on the bus, and so it was a tiny screen, and I did not care.
Yeah,
I think I took a nap. Randy, Tomorrowland is definitely one of them she would like to revisit, as well as Labyrinth. This is her reasoning of Labyrinth. And the other reasoning is she'd like to see what other people's reactions were to it.
Right.
I have seen this movie recently, like October. No. Mm-hmm. November? Oh, sure. January-ish. Literally this year. And it is fantastic. They're making a sequel, actually, which is very exciting. And as long as Jennifer Connelly's involved, I'm set.
Yeah, it's funny. That just kind of made me think of, I wonder if other people, I'm not a horror movie fan. And I wonder if people would want horror movies to go back in theaters, because a lot of people always talk about they like seeing it in theaters because they like being there with a crowd. And it's kind of like the same reason we like to be there for the big, Showtime movies, because of the crowd reactions, but the whole different feel to it, where there's like the crowd is like reacting in a completely different way. It's funny that Kevin said the Joker, because to me, the crowd reactions were always so weird watching that movie, because you never knew when you were like, was that supposed to be actually funny? Like, was I supposed to chuckle at that? And it was so kind of like, it was so emotional that it was kind of a weird. I mean, the uniqueness of it, I think, could go without being said. Like, it was definitely a unique movie to experience in theaters with a bunch. And I remember, I think we saw it together, me and Kevin, and
he hasn't refuted that, so
he hasn't. So I assume it's the truth. If there's no refute, I assume we saw it together. I think we did. We were hyped for it before it came out, so I'm pretty sure we did. And at the old AMC, RIP. But it was a movie where it was such like a unique experience, and there was a ton of people. That's what I was gonna say. There was a ton of people in our theater, like almost like it was a big. I mean, it was a big comic book movie coming out, and it was just kind of like such a weird kind of like feel to the room. I remember there was like those moments when it was like just like the few jokes, and it's like, oh, we did see it together. Okay, sounds good, Kev. I'm glad. But that's an interesting pick, but I get it because the uniqueness, and I know he loves that movie. I do too. Like I have rewatched it. I think I saw it maybe 2 or 3 times in theaters, which I know I'm weird for. Maybe we're psychos. But
are you sure you're not a sociopath? I'm just kidding.
But yeah, I think
all right.
Not to go on a Joker spiel, but we always go on spiels. And I think the Joker to me was one of those movies where it was such an interesting film and so unique. And like I think that was just a really well done movie. And maybe it was, I don't know, maybe part of me, it didn't like, I wasn't as like drained from it. Like I know a lot of people, I mean, like yourself came out, it's like, I just didn't want to go through that again. But to me, I wanted to rewatch it for like the perfect like scenes again and all that. Like same reasons why I want to see any movie again.
Yeah, I recently watched a script to page to screen replay of him on the talk show before he kills Murray.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. But I legitimately I watched that scene and I was like, it's perfection, dude. Like that is such a perfect scene.
Movie
and
in that film
sucks you in, and you're like, I know he's gonna kill him, but like,
yeah,
is he gonna kill him?
And I think,
then when it, like, the first time it happened, everyone in the theater literally jumped, and it was like, oh!
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, a lot of people critique that movie, and to me, I think it's a really, really well done movie. Like, it had me gripped. Like, I think it goes by fast too. From rewatching it, like, I was gripped in from the beginning, where it kind of just like, and then there's no really like stopping points. There's always something happening. There's always something moving. There's always some sort of emotional. There's always
that's part of the genius of that movie is as the Russo brothers say, if you ever listen to the Endgame or the Infinity War commentary, every scene has to do more than one thing, or otherwise it gets tossed because we don't have time for it.
Right.
So they especially in Infinity War, that movie's a smash and grab heist film about the villain, not the good guys. So everything had to be multi-layered. And in Joker, everything has a superbly overt purpose. And in the end, it is to subvert your question of what the just happened. Because I think the whole point of that movie is, I don't think the whole thing takes place in his head. I don't think he's in Arkham the whole time, but it's designed that way so you can at least go, I wonder if, and then you go back and watch it and pick up clues. And with Inception, it's kind of the same thing. It's designed to make you go back and rewatch. I knew from the first movie or the first watch on Inception that, he was no longer in the dream. And I will defend this until the end of time, because not once when he's in the dream does it ever genuinely wobble. It just goes in a circle, and I paid very close attention.
Yeah, that's very true with what you're saying, Joker. That's kind of the rewatchability in it, and also cinematography. I think it's such a well-done movie. Like, just kind of defending, I guess, me and Kevin rewatching it. I know Kevin saw it a lot in theaters. So like, I think it's just the cinematography and catching new stuff, like seeing now the story being told without like being on the edge of your seat maybe the whole time, like just seeing the storytelling of it. So yeah, Joker is an interesting choice. I'm glad this came up in this discussion.
Are you ready for my final choice?
Oh, yes.
It didn't take me very long. As soon as you got to, like, I don't know, maybe Spider-Man. I was like, oh, I know what mine is. So this one isn't even for me. I mean, it is, but it's not for me. Rise of Skywalker, because I never got to see it in theaters with my dad. Because I got back from Christmas break and he didn't want to go see it. And then every weekend after that, I was 100% busy and I traveled. And it came out on digital before it even left theaters. And once it came out, I don't even think he's seen it yet.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that would be good.
Like, I want it to come out, and I'm hoping they re-release it.
Yeah.
Like, Disney, bro, please re-release it. I know you're not gonna get it's on Disney Plus, so like, you're not gonna get a lot of money. But if you help out the theaters, then I can go see the final Star Wars movie with the man that made me watch the original trilogy on tape.
Yeah, and
I was so excited when I watched it the first time because I was like, I can't wait to show my dad.
Right.
But then I started traveling that next day. I saw Rise of Skywalker, and the next day I went to Georgia.
Yeah.
And then that led to, once I got back from Georgia, I went to Tampa and then Melbourne, and I was there for a week, and then I got back, and then he didn't have time to go see it.
Right.
And so
that's a shame.
It's a total shame. And
so hopefully that happens.
Like, when it comes to the guilt that I feel, that is in my top 5.
Yeah,
for sure. Cause it's like, he hates going to the theater.
Yeah.
Unless it's a movie that is specifically for him. Star Wars always sees it in the theaters.
Right.
And when I saw Force Awakens without him the first time, he's like, you saw it without me? And I was like, yeah, Dad, I couldn't wait.
Yeah.
I was like, how I am with movies. He's like, yeah, I'm just messing with you. But this one, like, I avoid the topic so much because
Really?
I
Yeah.
am ashamed that I didn't go to see it in the theaters with him.
Well, even if it doesn't come out in the theaters, it is on Disney Plus. You know, you could sit down and watch it with them, but
Okay, first off, we own it. So that never mattered. I bought it the day it came out. But I have honestly thought about buying a projector and then designing something and being like, all right, old man, we're watching it on a big screen. Not the big screen, but a big screen. Because he has a nice TV, but boy, it ain't big enough. And I could bring him over to here to where I'm currently staying at, and it's, I mean, that is big enough, but it ain't the same.
I like that choice. That's a good choice. That's got some real meaning behind it.
I'm so sorry, Dad.
Moving on.
I got to get rid of my guilt now.
Right. Well, moving on to our second game, a whole different topic. Thor versus Aquaman. Now, Thomas, you kind of brought this to my attention. You can just take over. You can go on about.
So, if anyone knows Adam Irizarry, he is the one who brought this to my attention. Now, there's some great, fantastic fan art somewhere on the Instagram of Thor fighting Aquaman. Now, before we get too deep into this, I need everyone to know that I am going to petition everybody so that I can get Jason Momoa as Aquaman to fight Chris Hemsworth as Thor. And you're going to be pissed because I'm spoiling, because I read ahead. This is also part of my next answer for later on. I am so for this that it's probably illegal. Now, what does it all mean? What's the meaning of this? So that is not at all what I was hoping it would save it as. I'm trying to save the picture for those of you that are wondering, and it is not working. So that's a bummer.
So the question kind of is, who would win in a fight? Just to kind of make it clear to our audience that who would win a fight? Aquaman from the DC universe or Thor from the Marvel universe? If they were fighting head to head, who would win?
And I have had some serious thought this week. Adam and I went back and forth, aka Superman. We went back and forth discussing it, and I instantaneously was like, Thor, he would electrocute the water. No big deal. Done. Over. Game over. And he goes, yeah, but Aquaman is almost impervious, just like Superman. And I was like, so you're telling me that? I was like, wait a minute. I was like, yeah, Superman can get electrocuted by lightning. And then he goes, only if it's by magic. So like Shazam or Black Adam. And then my next question was, well, is Thor's lightning magic?
Oh, man.
Which, just from Thor, no idea. From Mjolnir, yes. Because whosoever wields his hammer shall possess the power of Thor, etc. So the lightning that Captain America shoots off when he's wielding Mjolnir, magically induced. He is not the God of Thunder. So there's that. On top of that, if you did electrocute the water, which happens, how close would Aquaman have to be to get electrocuted? So that's another question.
Yeah.
My third question is it a battle to the death?
Right. Yeah. I would imagine it's a battle to like, where one's down and kind of forfeits, not quite to the death, but like a Civil War kind of style, or like, from Avengers 1 when they're fighting, where it just kind of ends. One's defeated the other, and all of a sudden the earth breaks apart.
I know how they end this fight. They come to a draw and they go drinking contest.
And Thor wins. I mean,
have you seen Aquaman, bro?
Hey, that scene from Doctor Strange when he just downs that beer so quick. I mean, I'm not going to vote against him. I'm not going to bet against him.
What I'm saying is that they're about the same pace, and they are both
the real question.
Gods. And they are both. Yeah, exactly. That's the real question. Who would win in a drinking contest? I'm ready for the next game because, like, I'm ready for the next game.
Yeah. Okay. You want us to go to the next game then?
Pop up the next game because.
The next game is
Aquaman and Thor. I want Aquaman. I want Aquaman and yeah. I saw this earlier and I was like, that's not even fair because I know who I'm gonna pick.
Right.
Also, I have a couple other suggestions. Yes, they all involve Thor. Just deal with it.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a fourth. Does not involve Thor. I want to see Aquaman and Thor, both demigods, both trying to figure out how to save someone. I don't give a damn how to save someone from some cosmic threat.
Yeah.
Like, let's just say it's Black Manta and son of a blue Loki come together, and they like fuse their powers of magic and then Atlantean technology, and they're trying to take over the world. Look at this. This script almost writes itself.
Yeah.
And the whole crux of their friendship hinders on, similar to in the first Thor movie, with his friendship with Selvig, if who would win in a drinking contest.
Yeah.
Or also from The Heat, which is also a buddy cop movie, where they get hammered in the it's a bar. Holy crap. It's been so long since I've been to a bar that I forgot the name.
Right.
Quarantine. So they that movie, like their relationship ends up solidifying in a drinking contest. So like that. Are you ready for my others?
Okay, let's hear it.
I don't have any script ideas, but I have I have great ideas. Flash and Thor.
Oh, lightning.
Hashtag Lightning Bros. Shazam and Thor.
Oh, of course. There's the real Lightning Bros.
There's Lightning Bros, and that's basically just Ragnarok all over again.
Yeah, for real.
Oh,
that'd be cool.
Angry. That would be lit. All right, now, are you ready for the real selection here?
The real, okay.
I have two. I have a PG-13 and then a rated R.
Okay.
PG-13, Spider-Man and Flash.
That was one of mine. Yeah, that's a good one.
I'm sorry, bro. I didn't steal it. And then
great choice though. You know, I think it'd be so fun. Like I think it would be
so fun.
PG-13, it could be PG at that rate, you know. So
my god, yeah.
Like it could just be.
Which Flash would you use? Would you use Ezra Miller or would you use
Grant Gustin?
Grant Gustin, yeah.
I think I'd go Ezra. I think I'd go Ezra and Tom Holland. Like I think both their personalities would like meld really together, and they're so like I think both those actors are so kind of like innocent in a way, and just kind of like light in their feet and kind of play like they're so good at playing kind of the young like naive character that I think that'd be so much fun. I think it like in my head script and how the movie would look for the Flash like Spider-Man movie would be them kind of like fumbling over each other's feet and like trying to figure things out together. Like there'd be like a bank robbery happened. There's someone's in trouble, and like they both are kind of like, what do we do? You know, and it's like, what do we do? And there's no like leader. They're both kind of like looking for leadership because in both, you know, our universes of those two. I mean, Spider-Man obviously is more taking a leadership role through the years, but especially initially, like in Civil War, you know, he needed leadership, he needed guidance, and obviously Ezra Miller's Flash and Justice League needed guidance and needed leadership. So I think it'd be fun to kind of, the story would kind of, in my mind, go through it, and you'd see them kind of grow together and work together better. And I think also just their abilities combined would be so cool. Like we even saw, shout out to Amazing Spider-Man 2, like we mentioned earlier, is like when you can use webs and like electrify them and stuff like that. I think it'd be pretty neat.
Yeah, that's in Homecoming, you know, taser webs. Taser webs.
Yeah, taser webs. Exactly. So who would your picks be for Flash and Spider-Man in that case? Tough choice.
I might have to go Grant.
Okay. He deserves it more. He definitely deserves it.
Because that is who I have watched the most as Flash.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, he has moments where he's really good at being a leader. And then, you know, he's very Peter Parker. He's a nerd. He's a genius. And if he didn't have his superpowers, holy crap, would he be in trouble, you know? And that's why. And they would bounce well off of each other. And it would be a very,
to me, I guess that Flash seems a little older.
Grant?
Yeah. Like I almost seem like, he'd be the leader, you know, like that would
he'd be the leader, but then it would be a Mysterio and Peter relationship, but it would be more like
Mysterio as the villain would be really cool too, because they're young and like kind of more reliant on their skills, less on their smarts. So like, like they would need to work on their smarts, which I love seeing both those characters have to do. I love when they have to kind of outthink them, not just out speed them or like string them up.
We have a suggestion in here. So Loki with Harley Quinn or Wonder Woman. This comes from Randy K. Stewart off of Facebook. Harley Quinn and Loki would have so much fun, whereas Wonder Woman and Loki would do the opposites, balance each other out. Funny that she mentions Harley Quinn, because I would choose Deadpool and Harley Quinn as my rated R version.
Yeah. That's kind of an obvious one. I thought about that, but I'm like, like I feel like that's so like, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of obvious, especially because after those reports came out that like they changed Suicide Squad off of after the like success of Deadpool, and they try to kind of like mimic it. Like, I'm
just talking about the Harley Quinn Birds of Prey movie. I just watched that before, and I'm like, it's so Deadpool.
It'd be a great movie, those two together. I'm like definitely worth a shout out, but I think just maybe a few like more unique ones. I have two more that I'm kind of proud of. My first one that I really, really like is Joker and Loki, where it's just like an all-out kind of evil. I mean, I'm hoping PG-13 or R, like it doesn't have to be like super crazy R, but I would love to see those two together because one's the god of mischief and one just outsmarts everything. Because I don't know if there'd be some sort of explosion getting them two in the same like room together, but I would want to see it. I think it would be cool if like Batman was like their who they were going against or something. Like maybe there was one of each. I don't know who the villain is or like who the good guy is they're going against, or if I don't. But I'll tell you what I don't want it to be. I don't want it to be them going against like a bigger bad. I want them against a good guy. I don't want it to be this like, oh, we're facing a worse person than us. Like no, like I want it to be
like Suicide Squad.
Exactly. Not Suicide Squad, but like they're literally just battling against like Batman or something like that, or Iron Man or something.
That's good. If you have any more suggestions in the comments and you wanna put your opinion into this game, please
give us your answers.
We'll keep going. So if they did that, Thor and Batman should be who they fight.
Right.
Because the crux of it would come down to Thor and Batman can't get along because they can't stand each other.
Yeah. And I mean, it depends. I wonder if like Joker and Loki would too. Like, would they be kind of adversarial, or would they be like, oh, we got this? Like, I feel like both them kind of like to work together for the most part, and both them see themselves as kind of like higher, and they're both nuts. So they probably wouldn't be able to read them. I think what would be cool is, I said buddy cop in the question, but almost them. You don't know if they're on the same side all the time, and like, are they gonna, you don't know if you're going to end up with a knife in your back, basically. They have to work together. I think that would be the kind of plot, that they have to work together, and it's kind of against their will, but they do. And when they do it like right together, and they're really like cooking, it would be such great scenes and really cool like quips and all that. Like, but they'd probably be forced to, because I know they wouldn't. I mean, this is crossing universes, but I'm sure they wouldn't like voluntarily, I guess.
I mean,
who knows? In terms of the situation,
I can see them voluntarily doing something like that. Like, are you ready for some script ideas?
Yeah,
so
let's hear it.
Joker sees Loki shapeshift. Ooh, I can use him to. Wow, he can just morph into anybody. He can become the security guard. He get me in and get me out with no big deal. I need to fake my death. He can help me do that. Things like that. Boom. Those are some ideas. And then it's like, from there, it just spirals downhill. And they have their egotistical battle.
Yeah.
But then they come to a point where it's just like sociopath, mama's boy, I was trying to think of like how to tear each other down.
Yeah. I mean, just like,
get over your dead mother already. You son of a bitch.
Yeah. I have a last one, by the way, too.
What's your third? I'm ready to hear that.
So Wonder Woman, which we just kind of touched on, Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel. That would be my duo, kind of like a female superhero duo. They're both extremely powerful. Like, it's one of those where they're just like, they'd be facing a really, really big bad because they're both so powerful. But it would be so cool seeing them work together, and like they're back and forth because they're both kind of like snarky in their own way, but they're different personalities and everything. But I think it would be so cool to see their powers morph together. And I mean, I don't have great, script ideas, but I think them fighting against just some greater big bad and seeing them work together in the fight scenes would be super cool. So I'd rather them just see that like in a YouTube video or something.
Who would you select as the big bad for that?
I don't know.
I've got ideas, but none of them feel right.
I want to say something like Alien, like nothing like Earthbound, I would say.
Concur.
I almost want to say like Apocalypse or something
Dark
real bad. Dark Side, maybe.
That's what I was thinking. Is they'd have to go against Dark Side.
What about the Skrulls?
Ooh, and then they build mistrust between them.
Right.
Because they're already actually that's perfect because they're too OP.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you put them up against Darkseid, mathematically they'd have to win. Although like it kind of depends. Darkseid kind of murders everyone a few different times. Depends on which version of the multiverse they're in. So that would be man.
Yeah. I just like the idea of them getting them together because such powerful women, like superheroes, like they're like two of the most powerful from like both universes, especially like in our film iterations, especially Captain Marvel. And I think it would be what if they went galactic and it was a Ragnarok but with them, like where it is more fun and they do really certain things. And
what if they fight Galactus?
Ooh, that's not bad. That is not bad. Hela. What if Hela's the villain? All women. It's too keep ripping off Ragnarok. Doesn't really make any sense.
No,
but it would be cool.
Would be too easy to take out between those two.
You're probably right. Yeah. I mean, she was kind of overpowered in Ragnarok. Like
by Surtur. Oh, you mean Hela was overpowered?
Hela was overpowered.
Yeah. She was on top.
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like she was very powerful. I think the villain would just have to be. I don't know. I don't think it'd be a villain-driven movie, even though most good superhero movies are to a certain degree. But I just want to see them together and to see their powers together is really my bottom line.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see how they travel together. One flies and the other rides the lightning.
Yeah.
This comes from Randy K. Stewart. It's a comment about the Joker Loki. Depends on the Joker version. The one from the Joker movie, Loki would help him out with his mental health. Whereas Suicide Squad would be annoying to Loki and would be like, tone it down, girl.
Yeah.
I hope I hit that tone right,
Nailed it. So we have any more before we move on to our final game for today? I think that's about it. Okay.
That is about it.
If there was anyone I'd go see first, it'd be Spider-Man and Flash. So just put that out there.
Wow. I'm actually genuinely surprised by that one. It'd be fun to watch Hulk. I don't know which version of Hulk. I love Ragnarok Hulk. He's my favorite version of Hulk, I love a big baby.
Big dummy. I don't know with who though.
I would love that version of Hulk.
Superman?
With Superman.
Yeah.
That would be fun. Cool. That'd be pretty fun. I would also
Smart Hulk and Superman.
I would like Smart Hulk with Shazam.
The balance there, I see.
Because you got to balance it out. Because oh my God, you're the Hulk. Hey, dude.
Yeah, I feel like one that's an obvious one that I think that's been like fanficked a lot is Iron Man and Batman.
Oh, I don't want that. You kidding me?
Yeah, that's just that. I think that's kind of an obvious one where they're kind of they're described as parallels to each other in like the MCU or in Marvel and DC. I don't hardly see it all that much. Like they're just kind of the guy that don't have actual superpowers. That's kind of like the basic for that. But
yeah, their superpower is being rich.
Yeah, exactly. So moving on to our final game, mixing it up, going over to a different galaxy. So we just talked about episode 9, Rise of Skywalker. And the Skywalker saga is supposedly over. Who do you and so is the sequel trilogy, Disney's first trilogy of Star Wars films. So in all 3 movies, we don't have to dive too far into, the movies themselves, but for the sake of this, who do you think? I think the trilogy as a whole is disjointed. Who do you think is like your favorite or just the best character from this new trilogy? And a new character, can't be an old character.
You already know my answer.
Let's hear it.
You already know my answer.
Who is
it? It's Kylo Ren.
Yeah, mine's Kylo Ren too. This is a crappy topic.
It's unfortunate because we're dudes, so of course we're gonna go to the one that we are close to. Honestly, I was gonna pick the bad guy no matter what.
Right.
I love a good villain. Like Darth Maul. It took 2 other movies of having Obi-Wan to make Obi-Wan my favorite character in the prequel trilogy.
Yeah.
It took the end of episode 3 before I was like, yeah, Obi-Wan's better than Darth Maul. I guess I'll give him that. Despite him, chopping him in half, believing to have killed him. Clone Wars brought him back, And then I like Anakin, but I like Anakin because he comes the bad guy. He understands the balance of it all. So
please in the comments let us know your favorite from the sequel trilogy. Ours both is Kylo Ren. I'll go on to say why mine.
Yeah, you go because everyone knows why.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think just in a filmmaking stance, like they put the most effort into that character from what I gathered anyway. Like Rey is the main character. Kylo's 1B though, in my opinion. And I almost wish he was more 1A.
You can argue that much like the original trilogy was about the redemption of Anakin Skywalker, the sequel trilogy is about the redemption of Benjamin Solo.
Right. I mean, you can't. I just think. I mean, I don't have the stats in front of me, but I feel like screen time wise, especially like Force Awakens, you get way more of Rey, like compared to Kylo. I mean, you see Kylo as kind of the big bad there. You're not seeing a lot of kind of that struggle. It's really, I mean, for me, I'm a big Reylo supporter. I don't have my shirt on, but I'm Team Reylo all the way. I love that scene at the end of Rise of Skywalker. You guys know what I'm talking about. Wink, wink. I'm a fan of Ben Solo. I like the character. The idea of him, he was getting trained by Luke Skywalker. He is the son of Han Solo and Leia. He's like the nephew of Luke Skywalker. He's destined for being a very powerful Force user on either side, and his grandfather was freaking Darth Vader. Like he's set up for success. Like his story just off that is so cool. When Rey, which I think she should have stayed like this, was no one, she was from nowhere. That changed obviously in episode 9, which I wish it hadn't, to be honest. But Kylo had such a cool already like set basis when you learned that he was, and there's a cool reveal in Force Awakens. It's like like when he's like Ben and all this stuff, and it's such a I don't know. I think he's such a cool character. And then also, so going forward, like Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, I mean, it was kind of obvious he was going to flip at the end of Rise of Skywalker. Like a lot of people predicted it, but I wanted it to happen. Even though I kind of felt like it was going to, I really wanted it to because I thought it made sense for his character. It made sense. He had a kind of a Darth Vader-ish ending where he does perish at the end, and I think a lot of that too, I mean, going back to the original trilogy, is they did that because it'd be really hard to explain someone who's been so bad and done so many terrible things and killed so many people for them to remain alive. So kind of going out a hero, I think is the best way to kind of end cap those careers and, end on top. And for me, Kylo, I love Adam Driver. First off, I think he's
amazing actor.
I love how he has those rage fits. He's not cool, calm, and collected like Vader. He's such a different character. And I liked him without the cowl and the helmet are cool, but I think it's cool seeing him without it. I like he's more of a person. Like you see into him more. He has this connection, this dad with the Force, with Rey and everything. There's such a connection there. His lightsaber is awesome. He has a cool fighting style. Like there's nothing really to me that was that bad about Kylo Ren. Maybe that he was trying to be Vader a little much, but that was the point of his character. The point was that he was trying to be Vader, but he couldn't. He couldn't live up to that. He was trying to live up to impossible standards and he didn't
and then he did live up to it.
Yeah, exactly. In that sense, but he was kind of like deceived in a way where he thought, being Vader was one thing when it really wasn't, and that was super cool to me. I love his character. To me, it's my favorite part of probably each film. Like his character doesn't really like go like sway like from side to side much throughout the trilogy. It's very consistent. Like he is like always a constant. He's the bad guy. He's Kylo Ren. He's Ben Solo. He has this dynamic. He's treated well, unlike I think other characters, like say a Poe or a Finn or even Rey to a certain degree, where they kind of all over the place with how they're used and like from movie to movie. Like it's not like consistent with like how they're used or how much time they get on screen and all this different stuff. So for all those reasons, mine's Kylo. I'm love to see other suggestions and other picks because to me it's obvious. But
I think Finn has fairly similar screen time throughout the 3 movies.
yeah, okay. So
Poe
for me,
definitely does not from this, and that changes really in Last Jedi because his whole arc in Last Jedi is, well, I'm stuck on the ship and I'm pissed,
right?
Right. And he wants to do everything that's stupid. So what does he do? He does everything that's stupid and finds out that you can have the best of intentions and fail. It's what you do after that that makes you a true leader. And that's his whole arc, which he doesn't really truly get to live through until the end of Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
And
speaking of Finn, I wish Finn was just kind of used differently, just to mark on his character. I think Finn's I think he's so strong in Force Awakens. Like, it's so cool. He's this stormtrooper who goes rogue, who decides like, oh, this isn't for me, and gets away. And he's set up so well. And I know he's not Rey. He's not the big, Force user in the universe, but I don't know. And you get teases of it in the Rise of Skywalker. I wish there was almost like a middle ground with him where maybe he like used the lightsaber more than once, not just getting destroyed by Kylo at the end. And then exactly Last Jedi to me, I mean, we're not have to go into Last Jedi, but
see, I think he's actually better in Last Jedi because he has an actual plot for his character.
Right.
In Rise of Skywalker, he has nothing to work with.
I mean, he's on the big journey with them, though, and I like to see him and Rey and Poe together. Like, I think that
he has almost as much to do as C-3PO.
Right? Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
he doesn't get his character. He doesn't get He's not important to the plot of the movie in Rise of Skywalker until he meets Jaina on one of the moons of Endor. So he's not even.
I like him being there, though. I mean, to me, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but I like seeing the band kind of back together.
I loved the band being back together, but they didn't give him crap for a plot.
Yeah. Well, there was that moment. I mean, I'm nitpicking and just to defend because I liked his character in that movie, but like him being like, "Oh, hey Rey, like I need to tell you something," and it's the whole Force thing, and
it's the Force thing, but they don't even get to that. And when it came out that he wanted to tell her that he had Force powers, it's like, well, duh, you could tell when he talks about the feeling and you watch Force Awakens and you see how he's so convinced that he's on the right path and doing this and doing that. And okay, yeah, but I thought he wanted to tell her that he was in love with her because that's how they designed that in the movie to look. And even if they didn't design it to look that way, that's how it came across.
And the thing is that
like, from Force Awakens to Rise of Skywalker, Finn only cares about Rey because Rey is the first person that ever made, do you got a boyfriend, cute boyfriend?
Yeah.
Like, there are subtle references that if you put the plot together, it's like, oh, he wanted to tell her that like he liked her. Right. Okay, I feel that. He wanted to. Yeah.
That's what most people kind of thought, but it was the Force thing. It kind of ended up that.
And then I was like, "Oh, that's it. That's stupid. You should have just had him say that." I don't know why would you beat around the bush? Because she should sense that.
But she's not a master. She's still kind of figuring it out. Sensing things. I feel like it's kind of harder than just like figuring yourself out.
You're right. I give you that because it's like
Leia probably could have.
Yeah, I think Leia did.
Yeah, she probably did. But anyway,
could you imagine what episode 9 would have been if Carrie Fisher were still with us?
Yeah, I mean,
dude,
there was a rumor she was gonna wield a lightsaber, so
she
definitely did in the flashback scene. But
shout out to her daughter for getting to portray her mom in that scene. That's awesome.
That scene was awesome. I love seeing that. I look good too.
Like, if you look at these 3 movies, the first one is Han's movie.
Yeah, I mean,
the second is Luke's, and the third is Leia's, and that's how they designed it already
for the original.
So, if she were still alive, I think she would have been given more to do than the others on an astronomical scale because we haven't seen her be the hero.
She would have had more to do for sure.
Because, Han saves the day in episode 4. And then
Yeah.
he does, he's there. He does
Han and Luke.
Han does Han things,
Right.
Luke saves the day in 4 and comes to try and save it in 5 and then saves it twice in 6.
Yeah.
So it's
no one saves it in 5.
No one saves it in 5. Boba Fett.
Leia, kind of.
Leia definitely
comes and gets Luke.
Chewie saves the day.
Chewie.
Shout out Chewie. Chewie always saves the day.
Yeah, but on Finn for a second, like you were saying with from the Rise of Skywalker, or no, from the Force Awakens to the Rise of Skywalker, that's what the problem is. I think not to go on, but like with the trilogy is that yes, from 7 to 9, yeah, it makes sense that he would be trying to say to Rey that like, oh, that I like you, but in Episode 8. He literally kisses Rose, and there's a whole nother like point. Like there's a whole other storyline that happens.
That's my issue with 9. That's my issue with 9 is they didn't even touch on that.
Nope.
Rose is an afterthought. Rose is barely there. They brought in Charlie from Lost to say all the lines that Rose is smart enough to have said. First off, I'm not that mad because he's a good actor, and like I would also talk to my friend to get me into Star Wars if I had one. I won't lie, but I am mad because they created this character, they gave her importance, and normally when you create a character and you give them importance, you take them on to the next one. She was harshly criticized for no damn good reason.
I didn't like Rose.
Why?
I didn't think she was a good character. I didn't care about her. I'm like, why are we spending all the movie on her? Like, I didn't. Was
it on her or was it on Finn?
Well, that's the thing. I didn't care. Like,
she was our eyes to get to know Finn better.
Yeah, but
she's a point of view. She's a point of view character. That's why she was important, and she's the point of view character. So she's there, but she's there to help us learn about Finn.
I just didn't enjoy like
us.
Sure, but just like personally watching the movie, I'm like, I'm not into this character. Like it happens. Like I'm just like, I don't really care about her. Like I was the very beginning when her sister died. I'm like, all right, cool. This gave her something. But then as we're going along, I'm just kind of like, I wanted to get back to the kind of in my mind, I think it's just the movie's fault to be anything because I'm not a huge fan of the movie because I thought there was just so much better, more important things happening in that film. Like I wish they were just with more of the main crew. Like I got the point where they're going on their own little separate mission, but the mission never really even mattered in the end. I mean, we got kind of some cool scenes ish, but I don't know. It just felt like a distraction. They were just trying to do something like a B plot, and I just didn't care for the character. I didn't like how she saved Finn. Like it didn't make any sense. Why'd she save him? It didn't make any sense. What she even said didn't make any sense. Why'd she kiss him?
Totally makes sense if they follow it up. I was like, oh, cool. Now she's not interested. Like now that'll take Finn from being like, I love you, Rey. It'll change that storyline. And then what did JJ do with it? Literally nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they had kept that plot line, it would made more sense. Like if he's like, I gotta get, I gotta get back to Rose, or they touched on it in any way. Like I think that's the issue with me of Rise of Skywalker is they didn't. Everyone's like, oh, he took everything from Last Jedi and threw it away and said that was a shit movie. No, he did not. He took a lot of what was laid out before and took that and put it into his movie.
Yeah,
you're no one because they were filthy drunk traders. They were no one, and I was shown that because. That's what I was shown because they wanted to be no one. They wanted to be nobody. He didn't know that he didn't know Kylo Ren did not know the truth until Palpatine said it. And then he did not truly know the truth until she showed his powers, bringing down that carrier ship. So the idea that, oh, he knew all along and he was just lying. No, he was shown what the Force wanted him to see. That's the point. So when it comes to Rose, that's the only time where he took what happened in Last Jedi and just ignored it entirely.
He did. Yeah, he did.
And that really, like, even if they gave those lines from Dominic Monaghy to Rose, who's a character we know, like if she said that stuff about Palpatine, it's like, oh yeah, she would know. She's smart. She worked as an engineer on the ships, which is why she knew so much, which is why she was important to the plot of Last Jedi, right?
Yeah,
she's just there, and they gave an explanation that was really
lousy.
Leia needs me here to do something. Oh, cool. Thanks for that. Because I wanted to see her and Finn and their romance develop, because we weren't going to get romance between Rey and Kylo. I knew that.
Yeah.
That was a long shot. The kiss alone, which doesn't make sense when you read the narratization of it.
Which I hate. I hate that. I hate that we have to now go to the books to now figure out what happened in a movie. You know what I mean?
First off, bro, that has been the deal of Star Wars for decades.
But
because they always have more in the movie, and the only reason I like that from the narration is that we can take that and we can implement it into the Hoth scene where brother and sister kiss.
Okay, that's a good way of putting it.
That's the only reason I like it. A kiss of gratitude. It's like, I can take that. Because my whole time, I thought they were related. That was I was like, I bet they're going to be related somehow. And then it's
Rey and Kylo?
Rey and Kylo.
Oh, yeah.
Which would have made sense why they were a dyad in the Force, you know? From the beginning, I thought that Rey was going to be the well,
there was an old Legends book
of Mara Jade. Oh no.
Well, there was twins. Leia and Han had twins, and they were both Force users. And it was kind of the same-ish deal where the boy, I think, goes bad and the girl stays at the light side. And it's kind of similar. I thought for a while that it was going to be Obi-Wan's granddaughter, just because the accent and stuff, but that didn't.
Yeah, could you have imagined though how they would have explained that?
I mean, they explained Palpatine coming back from the dead and her being Rey's grandfather, so they could do anything if that's
okay. Technically, he's also her father. Gotta love clones, baby. You gotta love a Ben Reilly clone saga.
Yeah. I like Rise of Skywalker a lot. I like it more than most people, because I think it's just but I think a lot of the reason why I like it is we're just going on a huge tangent with this. Kylo is the answer to the question. We're talking about Star Wars now. I like Rise of Skywalker a lot because I think it's such a fun. I think the pace of it's fun. I think just the action scenes are fun. I think there's a lot of. I like the pace. I think there's a lot going on. Different characters are doing a lot. A lot of characters are involved. Rose not being one of them, but we see a lot of characters. We get all three of the original trilogy in this movie. We get Han, Leia, Lando, Luke. We all get them. We get to see them in this film, and I think, it's never an enjoyable movie. Never together, which sucks. I really wish we had gotten the original three together in some way in this trilogy. I think if you were sitting down at Disney, it's surprising to me that it's not. I mean, they had their stories and everything, their storyboards, but it's somewhere. Just get Luke, Leia, and Han in the same room for a moment, and Chewie, or even Lando, that would have been so cool, I'm sad that never happened. Not to completely hate on the trilogy, because I think I like it more than some other people. I think some people hate Last Jedi more than even I do. There's a lot of hate for that movie, and I think a lot of it is very good. I love all the Rey and Kylo stuff. I think a lot of it I didn't really enjoy, and even the Rise of Skywalker, there's some stuff I disagree with. I don't like how. I don't really love how Palpatine even came back from the dead, or is a clone. I don't love how. I wish Rey stayed. I wish Rey had just stayed no one. I liked that answer in Last Jedi. I liked it.
I did too, because it sets up, and because you don't have to be a fracking Skywalker.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not an issue that I have with the series, because it's centered around the Skywalker family, and it's how they set up. But after that point, you shouldn't have to be related to a Skywalker, or a powerful Force user that we already know, to become a powerful Force user. The kid with the broom, obviously, Force users still exist.
Right.
Finn, the whole troops from First Order.
It was very. Yeah, I mean that's kind of one of the biggest problems I think a lot of fans have had with Star Wars, is that it's this huge grand galaxy, but in the films it's bloop, It's like this little group, and like that's all you can see. And
Wow.
I know there's a lot like we get Clone Wars, and there's comics, and there's Rebels, and we see a lot
in the
more.
Clone Wars. See, that's the thing that I love about Clone Wars is it really lets you know how centered and focused this story really was from the prequels, right? Like when you, especially as you know, did you skip the middle 4 episodes? No, you didn't. Ahsoka and the Mechanic.
Oh yeah, no, I watched all of it. Yeah.
Okay, so like in Ahsoka and the Mechanic, spoiler alert, they really get you to see how life is on Coruscant, not at the top. So that is like, whoa, man! Yeah. Like it is just like cool. It is here in the world now. We as everyday human beings, we don't get to know all the corruption that's true corruption that's going on at the Congress and Senate level. We don't get to see that. And if they had someone like a Jedi Order, we would never freaking see them.
Right.
Ever. Especially when they're traveling about gallivanting around the galaxy. I wanted that to come out really well. I'm glad it's smoothed out. Going gallivanting around the galaxy to to fight a war that they don't really, they're confused. Like it's, I love Clone Wars because it shows you how lost the Jedi truly are. And it shows why they fell apart. And it shows why the Sith ultimately won. And it shows why Anakin really did actually live up to the prophecy of bringing balance to the Force.
Well, quick aside, you still got to check out that Rogue One scene of them in Coruscant in that room.
I do. Remember? I need to watch Rogue One again.
It's cool. It's cool. Like it's not like to that scale, those film that part in Coruscant with the mechanics and stuff where you kind of really see it. But that part is really cool, seeing Coruscant in more of a subdued kind of light, and it definitely is Coruscant. You can see from just the outside. So yeah, Rogue One. Shout out to that movie.
Love that movie. It's my favorite Star Wars movie for sure.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. It's not mine, but it's like I'm not surprised.
What's your favorite?
Oh, Empire. Empire's still my favorite. It's the classic choice. I think it's not a very hot take from me, but it's just
What's your second?
My second favorite Star Wars film, Return of the Jedi. I'm a Return of the Jedi fan. I think I like it more than most people. Like I think to me, it's kind of like I like it definitely better than Episode 4. I think Rogue One might be higher than Episode 4 for me. I think it might go 5, 6, Rogue One, 4.
Wow.
Yeah,
I jump everywhere.
Yeah, and then I mean now because honestly in my head just now I wasn't even thinking about like the sequel trilogy, and then I was about to do my classic 3-1-2 at the end. But I don't even. I gotta figure out where 7, 8, 9 go, but somewhere in there, somewhere in the middle of the pack.
I can tell you that my top 3 is. I'll give you my top 4 because I know Empire is in there. I just don't know how it all fits, but it's Rogue One at the top, and that's the only reason why it's confusing. And I have to say, I have to have 4. And then it's Revenge of the Sith, Empire, and Last Jedi. Those are my top 4.
Last Jedi, is that high?
Yeah. And I am always going to defend that because you say that the plot means nothing and you hate the character Rose, but I'm going to use Terry here to back me up. Terry says, I enjoyed Rose as a character. She was the moral center of the resistance. We've seen how dirty the rebellion got in Rogue One. Rose was that hope the galaxy needed. And let's be real, Rose saved Finn, which if it weren't for Finn, we wouldn't have gotten the destroying of that Death Star, Star Destroyer, the Sith Destroyer, that's what it's called, in Rise of Skywalker, because he'd have done been dead. For what reason?
Yeah.
No damn reason at all. Because he made a bad choice. And he was willing to die. He was doing what Poe had just done. Willing to die just because he can.
Yeah. I don't know.
So Rose was the one who was trying to keep him. Because I just thought, Rose is potentially keeping him from turning to the dark side. Like Finn is really good, but at the end of the day, he could become over emotional, Anakin, and be swayed to the dark side very easily. So
I don't know. We're gonna agree and disagree. I think it's. I don't know why it's so polarizing. I feel like some people, it's like, oh, like you like Rose, and to me, it's like that character kind of sucked. Like I don't know. I'm just being honest. I didn't like her.
She's not a top 5 character in the film, but that's mostly because my top 5 characters are characters I already knew.
Right. Yeah.
Like that's not a fair assessment.
It's a big, it's a big point in it because that whole storyline with Finn and the part we were talking about, with them kind of chasing after the Resistance and the whole Poe and Leia and Holdor, that was a waste to me. But the other big part is,
what was
Rose and Finn going on this mission
part.
No, not just kind of like they were all together. Like I didn't like how there was like this small ship and getting chased by the big ship for the entire movie.
Gotcha.
I'm just like,
okay. Yeah, there's some parts that are questionable, but at the same time,
big payoff though in that movie. Like holy crap! I mean, Holda. I don't know the purple hair.
Holdor. We're gonna go Holdor.
Yeah,
Commander
when she light speeds through the starship,
Holdor maneuver.
That was unbelievable. Like that was one of those movies in the theater when I first saw them, like everyone was like, holy crap. And it like goes silent. I love the sound design on that. Anyway.
Yeah, that was such a clutch scene. And like, okay, here's the reason why I love Last Jedi. So me, I'm a Force mark. Like I am only here for the Force, which is why it should surprise you that Rogue One is still my favorite film. It is just top to bottom narrative, what's going on, what you see, what you're told, what actually happens. And then the payoffs that they give you, it is it is exactly what in an end preface. It's what I've always wanted from a Star Wars movie, which is a war film. So that is a big part of why it's my favorite. Like it hits all the boxes I didn't know needed to be hit. It's like Battlefront, but on the screen.
Yeah.
So Last Jedi, okay, Terry, I'm gonna need you to I'm going to put your comment up in a minute, but can you give me what you mean by it turns into Battlestar Galactica in the middle? Because, you might be explaining my thoughts on this film, and I didn't even realize that's why I loved it so much. But Last Jedi, so when it comes to the Force side of it, we get a metric frac ton of Force understanding. Reach out with your feelings. They never say that in any other part. It's like, reach out. They only say search your feelings, but that's totally different than reach out with your feelings. So that's a fun little tidbit.
I love
into
the Force stuff in The Last Jedi, and like the Rey and Kylo connection. Like that idea is so cool. And
I think that's where we
that Rise of Skywalker. Like they do capitalize on that. Yeah. And I thought that was super, like I loved that. I thought that was such an interesting way of like using the Force and and just like having these weird like kind of FaceTime calls and they're not really there. And it's like and then Luke's like, what's going on? And then they're sitting there and they almost touch hands and stuff. Like I said,
they touch hands. They touch tips.
They do. Yeah.
Fingertips.
And to me, like that's I think the Last Jedi is that I love all that stuff. I love Team Reylo, like I'm all in. I love Kylo. Answer this question. Rey's great in that movie. And then I liked how she was no one, that was cool. But to me, that movie, it's like, I love all those moments. The Snoke fight scene. Oh my gosh. That's one of the greatest like scenes in Star Wars history. Like bar none to me. That scene is like one of the best.
The Vader hallway scene.
Those are two of the best. Yeah, 100%. And that's the thing. Like I think those parts for me, I was so loving it. That's when I walked out of that theater the first time. I'm like, I think I liked. I liked it. I'm like, yeah, I liked it. And then I went and saw it. I saw that movie like 3 times, like 24 hours, by the way, because I didn't know what to think about it.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Most impressive. Not
bad for a movie that now I kind of grew up on, but it was just
kind of.
People hate that movie. Like I'm not that big of a hater. I don't like parts of it, Like I didn't.
You're not that as much of a hater, but you're a pretty solid hater.
Yeah, no, I definitely.
I think you read the internet too much, brother.
I read the internet, but it was my own feelings, like just sitting down and watching it. I think the first time, like immediately I liked Force Awakens, Rise of Skywalker. I had more fun with those movies for sure. I think just the high points in The Last Jedi are really high, but the low points, it's just kind of like, what do we do? I don't know. To me,
I think it's that for me, the low points aren't as low for you. And so
exactly. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I see my favorite part of that see, it really goes to show, and this is probably why I love the Rose Finn situation, is as it gets further and further and further, you see how corrupt the galaxy really is. And then it becomes even more of an analogy of our life today.
There was some cool stuff in that.
And
the analogies and
and to me, I go off the big plot points. So I love the casino scene because I love a good alien sequence. And then when they go to see that little boy, or they go to ride the horse, the Yoda horse. I don't know what Yoda horse. We're calling it Yoda horse. They meet the boy, and the boy we don't know that until the end. He's a Force user, so it brings back the idea that you can have nobody be a Force user, which is what Rian Johnson, Rian. I don't know how to say
Ryan.
I say Rian. That's what he wanted. He wanted it to be. You don't have to be anybody to be a great hero.
Yeah.
And then, of course, JJ did it. And it brings me to a point on JJ. Like, I don't know if he and his production team are super great at writing endings. I love the ending of Lost, but it's because I comprehended what was happening. Everybody else hates it because they're confused. It wasn't very confusing. They were not dead the whole time. They were dead at the very end. So, like, but then you look at, Into Darkness falls as soon as they reveal that he's Khan. It's like, okay, now we know what's going to happen. Oh, a little bit of a change. And I'm not even a big Star Trek fan. And I was like, oh, he's Khan. Well, that kind of makes me not like this movie as much. And I don't like Into Darkness that much because of them using Khan. And to me, Star Trek Beyond is the best of the 3 Star Trek movies that are new. I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
I think I'm the only one. But when it comes to Last Jedi, they wanted to do things. And I like what they did. And we get to see that there's corruption on both sides. And that, there are people out there who are going to do whatever they can to save their own neck, which we already knew. That's what we thought Lando was. So instead of giving us someone who's like Lando, it's like, I'm out, it was already sketchy from the beginning. Do we trust this guy? And then, we can't trust this guy. He's like, no, you can trust me. I didn't know what they were going to do.
Right.
But it flips that. And it's like, you can trust me. And then it's like, but can we trust you? Okay, you prove we can trust you, but I still got this feeling that, we can't trust you because you're a thief and you're going to do whatever you can to save your own neck.
Yeah. I will honestly say, kind of wrapping up today's show, Kylo answered the question, by the way.
We went long.
I will say, I just wish Disney had either just had one, I wish they had chose the director, either Rian Johnson or JJ, honestly, because I think a lot of what Rian Johnson was onto, like you mentioned, especially with the Force stuff, especially with kind of like the deeper meanings of stuff, and that everyone, and that she's no one, and there's more Force users and all that. And I think there was a lot of good there, a lot of risks in that movie. I would have loved to seen a trilogy by him that was the 7, 8, 9, or a trilogy by JJ, because I think both Force Awakens and Lives of Skywalker are such fun films. Like, they're so much more like fun to me, and kind of they move quickly. Especially there was, I think Force Awakens is a very like, it's safe, but it's a neat, tight film that has great plot.
I'm not a big fan of Force Awakens anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
it's too safe.
It's definitely safe. I would say. I mean, but I think I still
argue it uses 2 condoms.
But yeah,
I'm so sorry, everyone. I'm so sorry. It's late in the day.
Yeah. But I don't know. I just wish Disney, and I hope going forward they change that, because we do, like, no matter your feelings, it's so divisive, and so kind of like, it's because it's disjointed. They kind of audibled. The Last Jedi went places that all of a sudden they want to backtrack on. That, and the Force Awakens went places that the Last Jedi went forward and turned left on. So it's like, I don't know. They didn't have a through-line story like we see like the MCU, let's say. Or even, I mean, what's crazy to think is that the prequels get crapped on all the time.
Oh my God, that movie is so streamlined.
The prequels at least have 1 through 3. They have a story. They have a set story they're going to tell. George Lucas had a story. It's like almost the story like makes more sense than like the sequel trilogy, because the sequel trilogies,
I concur.
It's not all over the place, but like it's more
just enough over the like to the left and to the right in certain spots that it's like,
Yeah. It didn't have this like through line. I feel like they audibled a few times in their writing, you know,
here's a good way. I think this is a good analogy. I don't mean to cut you off. Sorry, brother.
No, it's
but
okay.
in 1 through 3, my biggest issue with it is Padme. She goes from being strong, capable to being the MacGuffin.
Yeah.
She's pregnant. Wow. She's the MacGuffin now, like given nothing. Then she becomes a genuine, literal damsel in distress at the end that Obi-Wan has to save her.
Yeah, no,
yeah. But in the sequel trilogy, there are more characters that have random points that are thrown about. That it's like, what?
Yeah.
You know, Finn is one of them, but that's only at the end. Poe is another, but that's in the middle. But that's more about screen time than anything else in how he's represented. But he's got I wouldn't even say he has a through line until the start of Last Jedi, and that's to become the leader.
Yeah.
Rey is the big mystery. She's on this big hero's journey. So her having like twists and turns. I mean, Luke Skywalker became the son of Vader. So, you know, that's a big twist that makes sense now. But back then it was like, holy shnikes. But the one character who does have a straight through line thread is Kylo Ren.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is why he's my favorite character in the sequel.
And I think last thing on the sequel trilogy real quick is just that I think The Last Jedi, for me personally, I didn't like how it took place right after The Force Awakens. Because to me, it feels like normally in Star Wars trilogies, there's a time gap between each one, especially in the prequels. There's a big time gap between each episode, and it makes it feel a little more grand to me. So looking at the trilogy, it's like there's Force Awakens, and then timeline wise, Last Jedi happens right after it. So then it's just like those two are kind of pushed together, and then The Rise of Skywalker has to do all this storytelling so quickly and kind of rushed because there wasn't this like more natural like progression that we've seen in the other trilogies that I preferred. I guess it's kind of a nitpick, but
the sequel trilogy takes place in the span of a year.
Yeah.
Think about that.
I don't like that.
I actually do not like that either. However, if I had to like put a positive spin on this, it's that at least this time after they used the Death Star, they made sure to destroy the whole bad guy situation in a much faster rate. So
yeah. And I mean, I think the movies are very close together in time in the actual fiction, but then also they came out 2 years apart. I wouldn't have mind waited 3 years. Just get it right, you know? And now we're seeing, I think Lucasfilm is kind of slowing down their roll. They have something good going with Mandalorian. They're like, all right, Mandalorian, let's roll.
I think what they're doing now is not slowing their roll. They're just not telling us what they're doing. I think they're taking the Marvel approach.
Maybe.
And, you know, they announced the Taika movie. I think that's going to turn into a trilogy.
Right.
Maybe. We'll see what happens with Taika and MCU, but he's got a lot of things he's doing. And he said that he needs to, he enjoys having this big budget film and then going and doing a small movie like Jojo Rabbit, which won him a bloody Oscar. Yeah. Right. So, I mean, he's getting another one. And that Rian Johnson trilogy is still rumored to be happening. Yeah. It has not been called
out the door.
See, and after Knives Out, it should not be out of the door.
Right.
Because look at what, and that's something that I've noticed is he wrote Knives Out and he had 100% complete control of the story. As much as they say he had complete control of the story in Last Jedi, he did not have complete control. He did not have complete control. No, we know that. Does.
Yeah,
exactly. We know that no one's going to have complete control there. But then if you go look at The Mandalorian and how like they have glimpses of, things can work out well. Rogue One, I won't lie, I think they got lucky with Rogue One.
Yeah.
You know, Solo, I think they got lucky with Solo. Everyone hates on Solo, and I'm confused why. I think
it's not a bad movie.
Solo's not a bad movie.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Like, the more I watch it, the more I'm like, to me, it just doesn't fit in with the rest of the movies. Rogue One fits right into the timeline.
Solo
easily.
Feels kind of like a
Solo is the
movie. like almost like it should be an animated movie
it
or
was
something.
given less importance for sure.
Exactly.
It should not have come out in May. It should have came out in December because, and it gets hate because people hated Last Jedi. They whined and they complained about Last Jedi so much that they didn't go see it. And they released it 1 week after Deadpool 2 and 3 weeks after Avengers. That was a packed May, Disney. What a terrible decision from you.
Yeah, it was. It was bad. Anyway.
Yeah.
Kylo Ren is the answer to our question.
An hour later, we got
all of that. Star Wars or Kylo Ren is the answer. Great 10th episode. Thanks everyone for tuning in today. We really appreciate it.
Before we hop off, let's actually hop into some of these. So I asked about Terry what he meant about Battlestar Galactica, and he means with the bombardment from the First Order on the fleet, running them down to the point that they run out of gas, and even though they followed us through light speed. That's how he's tying it into Battlestar Galactica. I also love that, which is why I like the plot of Finn and Rey, Finn and Rose, because they knew how to stop that. They knew why that was happening. They knew the way to stop that. They were the only ones that knew. So they were trying to do something about it. Terry also says that he loves when people get outraged about politics and representation in Star Wars and Star Trek. He asks, what have you guys been watching? That's exactly what it's about. Concurred. Randy says we forgot the forgotten mitochondria from the prequel movie. Excuse me, midichlorians. It's a damn good joke right there. The midichlorians are the powerhouse of the Force.
That was never a good idea.
I don't know how I feel about it. I'll be honest with you. It is what it is.
It's never mentioned in another movie.
How often do you hear about mitochondria?
All the time. I don't know. I'm just
you can't say that. You work at a gym. Of course you hear about mitochondria all the time.
But we hear about how
I first heard about it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But I will say you do hear about like how the Force is, how you use the Force and how the Force works and how it moves through you and all these things. You don't hear about these dumb midichlorians. Anyway,
you don't need to know about the midichlorians.
It's just the science.
Just like you don't need to know about
stuff.
Exactly. Which is why I'm not opposed to it, because you don't need to know about the mitochondria to know that you got to eat food to replenish your body.
All right. I like it.
Let's give Terry one last one. It seems a lot of the same people that give Kathleen Kennedy a hard time also gave our dear and fluffy Lord George Lucas a hard time. Okay, I'm one of those people, Terry. I won't lie to you. I always think that things can be done better, but that's just perfectionism. And I concur with you. I will also never understand the Star Wars fan base.
I think it's diverse. You know, there's some Star Wars fans that are only movie fans. You know, they're not into
my father.
Yeah, exactly. Like typically older audiences, you know, that aren't going to read the novelization to find out what happened, basically, and not going to know the through line, and not going to know all the ship names that showed up at the end of episode 9. But
oh god, I don't even know the ship names.
Exactly, same.
That's too many that's a dictionary, man. I already read the dictionary once.
I think the thing with Star Wars, thing I kind of answered Terry's question, is that it's so kind of diverse, especially with like age demographics, like kind of almost in nerd culture, where like deep dive MCU fans or deep dive MCU fans, you kind of know them when you see them to a certain degree. Right, us. And then there's kind of like more casual Star Wars fans, but casual Star Wars fans, I think there's a lot of big time Star Wars fans that loved the original trilogy who, you know, they don't watch Clone Wars and they don't read comics, but they love the original Star Wars trilogy. It's such a big thing in pop culture, you know, where it's just, they don't have to be big fans of every little thing Star Wars does, but they really care about the movies and they're going to say what they think. And I don't think that's so much. I think there's a lot of hate, like bad hate that goes around, but
for no reason.
I'm not opposed to people like wanting better Star Wars films. I think like most people think Rogue One's a great film because it's a great film, and there's not much disputing that. I think a lot of people liked Force Awakens because it was safe, but it was episode 7. There was so much hype around it that like.
It delivered.
Playing it safe was smart. So they
played it safe with the plot, and they gave us a twist at the end, which was, oh wow, she's a Jedi.
Right. It is complex though. You know, like Star Wars fan base, it's definitely more complex than maybe other kind of nerd corners.
Here is why everyone gets all pissy. You ready?
Yes.
They forget it's made for children.
Yeah.
And the only
I hate that though. You know,
there's only a couple movies that were not genuinely made for children in the sense that, oh, this is a story that children need to see. Last Jedi, Rogue One, Revenge of the Sith, and Empire.
Revenge
Those
of the
movies
Sith was the first PG-13 Star Wars movie.
And I think it's the only PG-13. Are any
Oh
others
no,
PG-13?
all the new ones are. The original trilogy, they're all PG. 7, 8, 9, they're all PG-13. The restrictions changed. So that like back in like
that's very true. Like MCU is PG-13, but it's mostly for the violence.
Yeah, it's like almost a standard at this point.
And the one shit you get every now and again.
Yeah.
Language. Did you really
Anyway.
just say that? Yeah, it just slipped out. Right. Wow. So almost 2 hours later with like an hour of Star Wars talk.
Of course.
Thank you everyone for tuning in to Lights, Thunder, Action. David, where can everyone find you?
Everyone can find me at David J. Thompson on Instagram, David Thompson, my name on Facebook, David J. also on TikTok, and David Thompson with 2 A's on Twitter. Thomas, what about you?
You can find me at Thomas Carter Rochester -actor on Facebook, at Thomas Carter Rochester, all one word, no hyphens, no spaces at Instagram, at TC Rochester Act, that is TC Rochester ACT on Twitter, and at Thor Son of Dale on the TikTok. You can also find me in my videos and my acting reel if you want to hire me on Life of Thor on YouTube. Excuse me, sorry, I had to cough. You can also find these videos. I should have put this, made a graphic for it, at the HWWS WebTV or right here at the Lights, Thunder, Action Facebook page.
Yep.
For all of your old stuff. David, where for all of your old stuff? Brain did not work. David, where can everyone find the audio version?
Yeah, so with the audio podcast, if you didn't join us today, or if you want to check it out later, if you didn't see all of it, our audio version of the podcast are on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. That's pretty, and Spreaker, our hosting website. But those 3 are the main general ones that most people use. So if you need it anywhere else, please let us know. But those seem to be working out the best so far. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you for joining us, and thank you again to the HWWS Web TV and the whole team involved. Be sure to like and subscribe to our Facebook page. We never say this, David. We should work on that. Make sure you like our Facebook page, and that you subscribe to the HWWS Web TV. And anytime we post these videos, make sure that you click on YouTube, ring the bell so you get notifications, and on Facebook, hit the star and get reminders so that you are informed when we go live.
Yes. It seems to change every week to week because we're pretty fluid in our schedule. So that is very important. Hit that star and get reminded when we go live.
Yes. It'll be Saturday or Sunday. Like next week, I'm helping my dad put a new roof on. So there will be no Star Wars happening.
Click the star. Just click the star. Just find out when we go live.
Click the star. It'll probably be Sunday night, and I will look like a lobster. With that, that concludes episode 10 of Lights, Thunder, Action podcast. Thank you again for my co-host David Thompson and myself, Thomas Carter Rochester. We hope you have a wonderful week ahead, and we'll see you next week.